time to get started. Today's game plan is to define exactly what it is that we're looking for. The rookie mistake to avoid is, I'll note when I see it. You know what I'm talking about? You have people that are so eager and anxious to start reading resumes and doing interviews. It feels good to start some activity. But what you're going to do instead is the following. Determine what the right candidate looks like so that you can spot them instantly when they come along. Get the hiring team in alignment from the very beginning to prevent those painful squabbles later. In today's job market, those can really slow us down and cause us to lose great candidates. And finally, measure each candidate objectively so we can be sure we're choosing the optimal ones. We will rely on gut feel no longer because studies confirm that it can be wrong half the time. To do these things, we're going to use a scorecard. Yep, just like when Dad took you to the baseball game when you were a kid and used to track things meticulously, the same way. Each person on the recruiting team is going to rate each finalist on a scale from 1 to 10. And only 8s, 9s, and 10s are going to advance in the process to the next step. No exceptions, ever. Now the 1s, 2s, and 3s, and 4s, they're easy to avoid. Where most people go wrong is by settling for 5s, 6s, and 7s. People that are just mediocre. That's what I call warm body hiring. Now I mentioned the recruiting team. How many people are involved? Now I have searched for years for the answer. Some companies I've worked with have 2 or 3 people, others 15 or 20. Well, our friends at Google did a long-term study, and they found that the optimal number is 4. For each additional interviewer over 4, you only add 1% more accuracy, but you add a lot more complexity and a lot more time. So I've learned to use 4, and it's really quite ideal. If your team doesn't trust the hiring manager to make the decision with the input of 3 other people, then you probably need to have a serious conversation. Each of the 4 is going to have a very specific role in the process, and we'll get to that soon. But first, I want to talk about the scorecard. Now, the scorecard can change as your company changes, so it's important to really think it through and go through this exercise every time you're going to make a hire. It's an important discipline. And it's important not to copy and paste from some other company. Who knows if they knew what they were doing? So in the online briefcase, I've included actual template that I use with my clients, and I've also included some sample scorecards for a variety of roles. I have not seen a position yet where I can't create a very useful scorecard. The scorecard includes 2 key components that each are equal importance, so we weigh them about the same. And we're going to come back to these time and again during this course. So let's really understand what they are and are not. First is competencies. This means the fit with the role. This is the candidate's skills and abilities to perform the job successfully. So some examples would be building complex models in Excel, or making 100 outbound calls a day while still smiling, or writing mobile apps that reduce user confusion. Now, we're going to learn how to define those in the next lesson, but let me tell you what competencies are not. As many people think, 7 to 10 years of experience in software product management. While that would be nice, it's not by itself predictive of success in the role, because 7 to 10 years is a pretty arbitrary number, and just because they were in product management at one firm doesn't mean it's the same at your firm. That's not actually a skill at all. It's some bogus criteria that someone uses to save time when flipping through resumes. So that's competencies. The second part is DNA, and that is fit with your company. So fit with the role, fit with your company. We're looking for both. Now, DNA means how someone is hardwired. It determines their behavior and their performance on the job. How do they do the job, their willingness to do the job, their interest and passion and engagement. So examples would be an exceptional level of attention to detail, or a people pleaser, or relentlessly pursues creative solutions. These are things that are already in your company. They're the soul of your company. And if you can articulate them, it's incredibly powerful for recruiting. So we'll learn how to do that in Module 2.